sponsor of today's rally. We are so proud to partner again with the amazing CWA Local 11. Right on cue, and their fearless leader, Gloria Middleton, for the Gloria, I just want to thank you for your dedication to ending wage discrimination and building such a strong union, which is one of the best ways to actually achieve equal pay. Last year, out there on the steps of City Hall on a little bit sunnier of a day, we came together to acknowledge the continuing wage gap for women, especially women of color. And we celebrated New York's leadership in breaking down wage inequity with laws like the salary history ban and the salary range law. We called for the passage of the New York State Equal Rights Amendment, which passed by overwhelming support. That gets a cheer. We didn't know then just how much we would need the ERA to protect our rights in 2025. It's critical that New York's laws can be a shield for workers and for New York. These times call for action, not silence. As we stand here, we call on all of our government leaders in business and everyone to take action, to do more, to make sure that women and marginalized groups are valued, represented, respected, and fairly compensated. You're going to hear a little bit today about the bold action that New York City has taken and is taking to rid our city from wage and opportunity inequality. But inequality grows when it's unchecked. So we are calling for stronger laws, enforcements, and amendments to our salary range laws that will give the current workers and job seekers the critical information to get paid their worth. We also call on the private sector to adopt the city's groundbreaking equal pay data analysis, which reveals the inequality in hiring and in promotions. We are calling for larger investments in the child care economy and in sick and disability benefits. These are the antidotes on the barrage, the assaults that women face today against people of color and against trans individuals. All will protect and help workers through these steps in challenging times, and it will make our great city the place to be in sight of daunting obstacles. I have the very special pleasure, and I would do this all day, to introduce to you someone who is the strongest advocate for women getting their due, and that is Gloria Middleton, president of CWA 1180. Gloria, thanks. A big, huge welcome to Gloria Middleton. Equal pay
For equal work, pay us what we're worth. Equal pay for equal work, pay us what we're worth. Equal pay for equal work, pay us what we're worth.
Welcome everyone again to our 19th Women's Equal Pay Day Round. The event we host annually along with Power, and this year our speaker was able to assist us in providing this space and part of our agenda to make sure that there is equal pay for equal work. We mark this day that women must work until this year to earn the same amount men earned last year. As you may have noticed, we are missing one of our key players in the fight for equal pay. Bev Newfield, the head of Power New York, who unfortunately is attending to an emergency family matters. Our thoughts are with her and her family at this time. Joining us today are some of New York City's council's top legislative leaders. Speaker Adrienne Adams, Majority Leader Amanda Farias, and I think Majority Whip Sabina Brooks Powers, all of whom will be speaking about, forgive me, and our Deputy Speaker is with us as well. Of whom will be speaking about the important legislation the council is working on to address the inequities women face on the job and when applying for jobs. We are also joined today by former City Controller Scott Stringer, who has always stood with me.
working in New York City mayoral agencies, H&H, the Board of Education, Housing, Transit, School Construction Authority, and dozens of other city agencies and private sector nonprofits. My members are predominantly women and women of color who work alongside men as administrative managers, principal administrative associates, coordinating managers, assistant directors, and in many other titles. For years, we have known that women typically earn less than their white male counterparts. Doing substantially similar work, we have fought to make women's salaries equal. We have worked with city and state legislators to pass legislation preventing unequal pay based on gender, race, or religion. And we have been the leading outspoken New York City labor union to continually send the message that salaries should be based predominantly on education and experience. And that is why we are here today, to call attention to the ongoing problems women face in the workplace. The gender pay gap stems from a complex interplay of factors, including occupational segregation, societal norms, discrimination, and differences in work experience and education. Historically, certain jobs and skills associated with women have been undervalued, leading to lower pay scales. Even when the work is essential, women often face discrimination in hiring and promotion decisions, leading to fewer opportunities for advancement and higher paying roles. And when it comes to salaries, unconscious biases often influence pay decisions, even when employers claim to be fair. In fact, women are their own worst enemies sometimes in salary discussions, as we are less likely to stand up for ourselves and negotiate a complete salary package that compensates us for our contribution to the workforce. In the last 7 years, however, we have started to make important strides toward gender equality in the workplace. Women are breaking glass ceilings, demanding an equal place in the workforce. And thanks to our legislators, we are starting to close the wage gaps. But we cannot afford to take these hard-won advancements for granted. In fact, we need to be more vigilant than ever, because the bad word they try to use, DEI, I call it diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yes. I'm not using DEI. It's diversity, equity, and inclusion, which includes everyone. These policies enacted by Mr. Trump and his administration have posed significant threats to the progress we have made. We feel sometimes like women are going backwards. Progress that has allowed women to succeed, grow, and lead in ways that were once unimaginable. Affirmative action was created to address the systemic discrimination that women, especially women of color, have faced in both education and employment. By fostering a more diverse, inclusive environment, affirmative action has helped provide women with opportunities to advance in fields where we've historically been excluded. But under the Trump administration, we have seen consistent efforts to dismantle these critical policies by limiting diversity initiatives in government agencies to challenging diversity and inclusion programs in private corporations.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Next up, I am so happy and pleased to be able to introduce our speaker, Adrienne Adams. In our fight for equal pay, and in this council that has a majority woman, we have been able to pass several legislation to make sure that women have the opportunity to get equal pay. We've had statistics done within the city government. We've had legislation passed in regards to asking somebody about their past history, about their salary. And Adrienne Adams has been a champion of this legislation. I now introduce you to the speaker, Adrienne Adams.
I do with DEI also. Because the person that's in the White House, I noticed you had a hard time saying his name. I just call him Bella 47. It's easy to remember that. But DEI to me means deserved it, earned it, so let's increase it. It is such an honor to be here among so many inspiring women. You all inspire me. And I am New York City Council Speaker Adrienne Adams. I'm so proud to lead the first woman majority in the history of the city of New York. I also acknowledge my amazing colleagues who are here today. My Deputy Speaker, Diana Ayala. Majority Leader, Amanda Farias. Majority Whip, Sylvina Brooks-Powers. Co-chairs of the Women's Caucus, I know they're here in spirit, even if they're not here, but I want to acknowledge Council members Carmen de la Rosa and I'm also thrilled to be here with all of you standing here. We send our condolences to our Beverly Newfield, president of Calvert, New York. Legal Momentum and SAG-AFTRA. And of course, once again, none of this is possible without the fierce advocacy and leadership of Gloria Middleton. And the incredible members of CWA Local 1180. Thank you for your and the dedicated commitment to pay equity. Today, on Equal Pay Day, we are gathered once again to reflect on the progress we've achieved together and to take stock on the work ahead to finally close the pay gap. This day symbolizes just how long into the new year it takes for women to work to earn the same as men for last year's work. The facts are always striking. Here in New York, working women earn just 87 cents on the dollar compared to a man in the exact same position. The disparities are even wider for women of color. Black women earn 66 cents. Latino women earn 60 cents. Native American women earn 55 cents on the dollar for the same work. And that's just not right. Women make up over half of our front line and municipal workforces, yet they're not even being paid accordingly to the value that they provide on a daily basis. As a council, we've taken steps to address the gender and racial wage gap. We strengthened our salary range disclosure law and identified ways that the city can make it even more robust. Last year, the council released its pay disparity report. What an eye-opener that was. It told us some things we knew and told us some things that we didn't want to know. It found these persistent gaps in the municipal workforce are largely the result of women of color being paid less. This is because women of color are concentrated into job titles that consistently provide lower wages, which is known as occupational segregation. We continue to lack access to higher paying jobs that are predominantly held by white and male employees. In response, we passed a package of legislation to improve municipal workplaces and expand promotional opportunities, building on our past efforts to confront these challenges. As a council, we will continue to find creative and meaningful ways to address pay disparities on the city level, especially at a time when our rights and opportunities as women are under attack by the federal government under he whose name will not be repeated. New York must step up and lead. We are the leaders of the nation. When women have equal access to opportunities, all of us succeed. As the most diverse women majority council, we will not rest until all New Yorkers are valued equally, regardless of gender or race. I'm so grateful to stand side by side with all of you once again this year for this occasion to speak up, speak out, and speak for our rights as women. I stand with you in this fight today and every day. I look forward to the work ahead to close this pay gap once and for all.
Equal work, pay us what we're worth. Equal pay for equal work, pay us what we're worth. Equal pay for equal work, pay us what we're worth.
Thank you, Adrian. We cannot do this fight alone. We need our legislators to help promote equal pay through every legislation that we bring forth to the council, and that has been done. The two main leaders, and let me acknowledge Diane here, y'all, okay? I know. The two champions of pushing forth legislation is our Majority Leader, Amanda Farias, and our Majority Whip, Selvina Brooks Powers.
Good afternoon, everyone. What do we want?
Equal pay!
When do we want it? Now! Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm honored to stand with all of you here today with CWA 1180, with all the women behind me, with my speaker and my colleagues in Power, New York, for Equal Pay Day yet again this year. A rally that's not just about awareness, but action. Thank you to all the folks joining us and all the advocates who refuse to accept anything less than economic justice. In New York, as you heard, women earn 87 cents for every dollar a man makes, and the gap is even worse for women of color. Black women earn 66 cents, Latinas 60 cents, and Native American women just 55 cents per dollar compared to a white, non-Hispanic man. Over a lifetime, these disparities cost women hundreds of thousands. Black women lose over 1.1 million, and Latinas lose 1.3 million in earnings. That is money that should be building homes, funding education, and securing financial stability for families. We cannot afford this injustice. These are systemic issues that demand systemic solutions. As Majority Leader, I'm fighting for policies that uplift working women by expanding child care access, funding women-led businesses, and ensuring city contracts reflect pay equity standards. And as was mentioned by Gloria, we gotta be about the policies. And so that's what I'm here to talk about. I've introduced a key bill alongside another crucial bill by Councilmember Caban in a package that aims to tackle this critical key area. Intro 984, Pay and Employment Equity Study, is my bill that requires an annual study of pay and employment equity for private employers with 150 employees or more to identify disparities and provide recommendations to plan to solve these disparities. Through this bill, it says 150 plus employees right now. I'm amending my bill's number, hopefully, to go down to 100, to align with Councilmember Caban's Intro 982, which strengthens compliance with equal pay laws. I'm a co-prime on that, and this bill requires companies with 25 plus employees to report pay and demographic data to the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, ensuring transparency and accountability. Again, both of our offices are amending our numbers for the 100 plus employee range in order to synergize our bills to make the system as robust as we can. Additional legislation, as you'll hear, to strengthen wage equity has also been introduced by my colleague, Majority Whip Brooks Powers, in Intro 808. However, beyond pay transparency, we must invest in women's economic security. We must invest in the care economy, a vital yet often overlooked sector. Securing New York City and New York State funding for child care and home care workers is essential to ensuring fair wages and long-term job stability. We must expand paid leave by modernizing temporary disability insurance, including removing the $170 a week cap, ensuring job protections, and maintaining health insurance during leave to prevent financial burdens that disproportionately affect and impact women. We must end sub-minimum wages for tipped workers. No worker should rely on unpredictable tips to survive. We must protect workers' rights by combating federal rollbacks that weaken workplace protections, anti-discrimination laws, and economic equity. We are not here to to ask for change. You're here to demand it. The wage gap is a policy choice, and we have the power to fix it. We must keep fighting, organizing, and pushing until equal pay is a reality. New York City has made progress, but there's always more work to do, and we won't stop until equal pay is a reality for all. Thank you all for standing with us yet again this year. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I want to start by thanking Speaker Adrienne Adams for her leadership and commitment to pay equity, as well as CalHER New York and the amazing CWA Local 1180 for your strong support and partnership. I'm proud to stand with all of you in the fight for fair pay. Wage disparities continue to hold back women, especially Black and brown women, from achieving true economic security. When women are underpaid, families struggle, communities suffer, and our entire economy is weakened. That is why we must take action. In the council, I am championing Introduction 808, legislation that strengthens New York City's pay transparency law. Employers must be clear, not just about salaries, but about benefits like health care, retirement, and bonuses, so workers know their true worth. This bill will lead to more accurate salary ranges and job postings and ensure that current employees have access to salary information, helping to close pay gaps and empower workers. Pay transparency is a powerful tool in closing the wage gap, but we must also hold employers accountable to ensure real progress. Women should not have to fight for the pay they've earned, and they shouldn't have to guess whether they are being compensated fairly. When women thrive, our entire city prospers. Let's continue this fight together, and thank you and happy Equal Pay Day.
I want to thank the Majority Leader and the Majority Whip for standing with us and making sure that we have legislation that not only has equal pay for city and public workers, but we want all women to have equal pay, whether they're in the private industry or not. And this council, with the speaker as the leader, has done a phenomenal job in passing legislation to move us forward. And we want to say thank you. Next up is the former controller of the city of New York, Scott Stringer.
I wanted to come by today because it dawned on me that you and CWA have been at this a very long time. And when I was controller, we issued a report that almost mirrors a decade ago what Speaker Adrienne is talking about today, meaning that we have not gone far and far enough. So it's time to end minimalism, and that's why I think we're all here today. I want to mention one thing. We also have to tell our community, it's not just enough to certify women and minority businesses. It's time to get contracts so they will hire the people paying equal pay, people of color, women. Isn't that what we should be doing? Let's put businesses forward. Thank you all very much. Thank you, City Council. It's been very good.
Thank you, Scott. I love all of Scott. I'm going to bring back Rebecca Davis so she can introduce our community partners. You betcha.
I also want to thank and acknowledge PowerHER's Mary Luke right here. Without her, PowerHER wouldn't be the great organization that it is, so it's always an honor to do that. Now, I'm going to be bringing one of our great partners, Seher, who advocates for any part of this critical movement, to any progress. Seher, with Legal Momentum, has been a force behind many of the equal pay legislative successes in partnership with PowerHER. And I want to give Seher a big warm welcome. Come on in.
My name is Seher Khwaja. I'm the Director of Economic Justice at Legal Momentum, where we have been fighting gender-based inequity across the nation for decades. Every equal pay day, we show up on those steps, rain or shine, bearing the weight of a perpetuating wage gap, one that continues to drive too many women, particularly women of color, to the brink of poverty and desperation. Today, we need to be prepared to fight even harder, because disparities are only going to get worse as attacks on women, people of color, and the LGBTQ community become more widespread and severe. As we speak, we're up against a federal administration that is engaged in an all-out assault against the rule of law, free speech, and efforts to establish a more fair and equitable society. It is effectively misleading people into submission by illegally withholding funding, censoring words like gender, stifling dissent around discrimination, dismantling DEI, and weaponizing our anti-discrimination laws against those it was meant to protect. As we navigate under this cloud of misinformation, coercion, and lawlessness, we must make clear that the administration's executive orders do not change employers' obligations under federal laws like Title VII and the Equal Pay Act, and they certainly do not change employers' obligations under our much stronger state and local laws. In New York, we must also make clear that while discrimination can be experienced by anyone, our anti-discrimination efforts should not be centered around white cisgendered men. The numbers are crystal clear. Our job market and economy gives stark preference to these men and impose the highest financial penalties on women of color. Thus, nationally, and we've heard it, Latinas only make 51 cents, Native women 52 cents, and Black women 64 cents for every dollar made by a white non-Hispanic man today. But even in the darkest of moments, we have power. Working with Power New York and other partners, the Attorney General, the Speaker, our state and local representatives, I have seen firsthand what we can achieve at the state and local levels. That we can pass a groundbreaking pay transparency law that advances pay equity in a completely new way by transforming the way employers set pay and how women and people of color advocate to be compensated more fairly. Today, I'm so grateful to once again be surrounded by the people who have taught me, whether we are ahead or behind, how to take a breath and to keep going. And that is what we're going to do. As employers retreat from their commitments to diversity, equity, and inclusion, it's all the more important that they increase transparency around their pay practices. To effectively tackle pay discrimination, employers must be required to disclose pay information to their existing employees so that workers can actually assess whether they are being paid fairly and employers have an incentive to correct disparities without litigation. Our law must mandate disclosure of broader forms of compensation because for too many women, the most severe pay inequities arise not just in base pay, but in bonuses and other forms of compensation. And lastly, employers can no longer tout pay equity while hiding behind their pay practices. Employers should be prepared to be accountable, to disclose and report their pay gaps and their pay data based on gender and race. These are all reforms that are moving forward, as we've heard, in a slate of bills before the New York City Council and the New York State Senate and Assembly, with the leadership of the council members, Bush Powers, Arias, and Devon in the city, and Senator Ramos and Assemblymember Boris in the state. We are going to strengthen and expand our pay transparency laws. I want to wrap by thanking those, many of whom are here today, from our speaker to our Attorney General, people who have been outspoken and unwavering in this moment, because so many have not been. Meanwhile, the populations we serve every single day are living in fear, and I'm not overstating that when I say it. Now, more than ever, we need leadership. We need political, institutional, and corporate leadership to act with integrity and courage, to step up and to speak out on behalf of our communities, and to risk short-term costs to uphold basic rights. Thank you.
So, while we live in this world with many unknowns, we all know that when we fight together, we win. Unions understand that the road to equal pay is not smooth, it's not open, it's not easy. That bumpy, wind-in-your-face, uphill battle, full of tough choices and big sacrifices, but this is worth the fight. I look at Gloria. I get excited when I look at Gloria because she went actual hope. Women's Equal Pay Day for union members is celebrated in February. Now that's still not right, that's still not good, but it is a full month earlier than the Equal Pay Day for everybody else. So unions, because that pay gap, that wage gap, that 40% for unionized women, it is clear unions help level that playing field. And it brings us closer to the reality we want to see. You know, if we are going to actually address this imbalance, what we need to do is encourage every single person, every organization, whether it's early in your career, whether you're just starting out, to put this as a priority for who and what you do. You know, it takes all of us, every single one of us. You said you were here to support, and that is what it all is. We are supporting each other. The work of breaking down stereotypes, building up communities, fighting inequality, and pushing for progress towards takes real courage and belief in the possibility for change. So we have some asks here to do today. We have an action plan. We've got the homework. We're going to flood social media and make sure they know about the policies that we need. We're going to share this with our friends and our colleagues and our union brothers and sisters and siblings. We're going to send a message to our elected leaders with the Power Her Easy Online Action. You can get involved by going to powerherny.org to find out more information. And you know, it wouldn't be a rally here at City Hall if we didn't get with Gloria, 1180, SAG-AFTRA, all our union siblings here, and the wonderful people from the council, and make sure that we have our voices heard. So we're going to try this. No excuses, no delay. Women want equal pay.